I really like Omega. My serious like for Omega isn't quite expressed in my collection yet, but I really like them. Perhaps that's the problem. I only really like most Omega watches, but to spend thousands of pounds or dollars on a watch, I really need to love it. But this watch, the Omega Seamaster Professional 225450, this specific reference and era of Seamasters is one of those rare Omegas I absolutely love. And this video is going to be me gushing over the awesomeness of this watch. If you're new here, my name is Brittany, aka watch.gringa, and I make videos about watches. And before you ask, my accent is so weird because I'm a Canadian who's lived in Britain for 6 years, and it's done funny things to my voice. Subscribe if you think my voice is weird. My subscribers are about to skyrocket. Back to the Seamaster though. So this watch I have on loan from my wonderful friend Glinners, the guy with the massive clock. But he's really kindly let me borrow this watch, so thank you so much. Glinners actually had one specific prerequisite for letting us borrow this watch, and it's that we wouldn't wear it gently, we would wear it rough. So Glinners, I need you to know, we followed the brief. We followed your instructions. So the Seamaster Professional 300 meter you can kind of think of as Omega's midlife crisis. Originally released in 1948, the Seamaster was loosely based on the waterproof watches Omega produced for the Royal Navy during World War II. Then by 1957, scuba diving was all the rage, so Omega released the Seamaster 300, which ironically had a depth of 200 meter. These watches at this time didn't look anything like what you think of when you think of a Seamaster today. That is until the 1993 midlife crisis, where the S&P received almost an entirely new look. Classic lyre lugs, wave dial, new handset and scalloped bezel, a new bracelet, and of course the helium escape valve. An icon was born. So this watch we have in today is the 5th generation Seamaster Professional 300, the 225450. And I dare say this is the best generation of Seamasters ever. It's not even up for debate. It's just a fact. Just classic. Aesthetically, it has quite a few differences from the modern variation. The unskeletonized sword hands, thick baton and triangle indices, or as Nacho from Fratello described it, a 12 o'clock slice of luminous pizza. 10 out of 10. It just looks so industrial and tool, but then on the wrist, it's so slim and refined. It is the perfect meeting place of luxury and sport. Pretty much everything I don't like in the modern Seamaster is remedied in this watch. The color-coordinated date window at the 3 o'clock, the refined but sporty hands, and a nice closed case back. I really prefer this over the display case backs in most Omega models now. It feels much more sporty to me, and I kinda love getting to see this portrait of my mother-in-law. Okay, that was kind of in poor taste. Dina, I'm kidding, you beautiful woman. But I prefer to see the hippocampus. And of course the more Speedmaster style bracelet rather than the modern bracelet that we know and hate today. I've always thought it had a very mil-spec diver feel to it, and the wearability really is unmatched. So looking at the specs, this watch has a case diameter of 41 millimeters and a height of 12 millimeters, including the sapphire crystal, 300 meters water resistance with a helium escape valve. Now the helium escape valve has always been a point of contention, and I need to say it. I've been charmed over to it. I know I've spent so long hating it, but you know, this watch collecting thing is a journey. The helium escape valve has become a Seamaster distinctive and strongly contributes to that industrial tool watch feel. The case itself feels really beautiful and thoughtfully crafted. The way the lyre lugs flow into the case and around the crown guards, the beautiful wave motif, the whole watch feels fluid and just feels beautifully crafted. Continuing on with the specifications, inside this watch, under the hippocampus, we have the Omega caliber 1120. Introduced in 1996, the 1120 caliber is based on the ETA 2892A2 movement. It is cost certified and gives you 44 hours of power reserve. So if you have a particular boner for coaxial, this isn't the one for you. But I don't understand the coaxial obsession all that much. I kind of get it, but... Now here is the tragedy of this story. This is my favorite Seamaster. This might be one of my all-time favorite dive watches. Everything about it just feels beautiful, mindful. It's so fluid and gorgeous. I have a lot of love for this watch, but it's ultimately too big for me. Here it is on my 5.5-inch wrist versus my husband's 6.5-inch wrist. If you don't have tiny chicken wrists like me, the 41mm actually wears really beautifully, and it just sits so right on the wrist. Not too high, not too thin, not too big. It's just pure magic. I just love this watch. I don't know. I think the 22-5450 just holds such a special place in so many people's hearts. For many people, it was their first ever luxury watch, a true all-rounder. And I think this watch is already well on its way to being a classic. I actually had a really hard time making this video because there wasn't all that much out there for this watch. Lots of videos on the modern Seamaster, and I think this one just slips into that spot of being like pre-YouTube. But it's actually kind of where I see my collection moving more towards. I'm finding myself less and less attracted to modern pieces and feeling more drawn towards neo-vintage/vintage watches. They're just so charming. I know Omega won't do it, but I'd be really interested to see a modern interpretation of this specific reference. Bring back the sword hands, the style layout, but having the coaxial escapement and modern specifications. It could be a really interesting piece. Maybe even make it a limited edition. We know you love those, Omega. But anyways, guys, I could talk about this watch all day long if you let me. I'd love to know what you think about this watch in those comments down below. And just do all that YouTube stuff, feed the algorithm gods, give this video a like, comment, and if you're not subscribed to my channel, like, come on, subscribe. And until next time, you beautiful, fabulous, wonderful watch nerds. Bye.